I was raised by Hastings, Michigan.
My name is Lauren McCoy.
My name's Ben Beerline.
America singing. I hear
merry carols. America singing.
In 1974, Chicago radio broadcaster Studs Terkel published a best-selling collection of interviews with a cross-section of people talking about their jobs.
For this production, we also spoke to local workers here in Kalamazoo to gain insight into today's jobs and the people who do them.
Terkel described working as the extraordinary dreams of ordinary people.
These are their words. The mason singing,
The waitress singing,
The fireman singing,
The mail worker singing,
the principal singing.
each one singing,
the teacher,
the trucker,
the builder.
The housewife.
I hear America singing, America singing.
each role is different.
You know, when a man works all the time, I think he should have pride in his work. It's strange when you get tired of my mouth.
Hey, somebody, don't you wanna hear the story of my life? One of them movie companies, TV documentaries. Won't you come and ask me, please? And pay me $1 million to tell you what I do at the store. Cause if you pay me $1 million, I wouldn't have to go and do it no more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like the song said, all the live long day. Everybody does know that song. Working for a living the whole day long. All the live long day. Hey, somebody, won't you turn your head? Take a look my way.
I'm getting old and I tell you,
Getting old ain't nothing new. Stuck again with you know who. Be my old pal Monday. No rain or shine, you'll be showing. Be my old pal Monday. And another cup of coffee gets the juices flowing. Another cup of coffee gets the juices flowing. Another cup of coffee gets the juices flowing. And it's 1, 2, 3, get going. Just like the song say, all the live long day. Everybody done know that song. Working for a living the whole day long. All the live long. Just like the song say, now all the live long day. Just like the song say, now all the live long day. Just like the song say, now all the live long day. Just like the song say, now all the live long day. Everybody done know that song. Working and living the whole day long. All the live long day. I'm a dying breed, a laborer. Strictly muscle work. You pick it up, you put it down, you pick it up, you put it down, you pick it up, and you put it down. Typically, in the morning, you wait at the shanty till 7 o'clock. You go in at 7 and you start climbing up that ladder, working your way up the steel. Every 2 floors, you plank it off. Then you disconnect the bottom of the mast and tie it to the boom on the top of the choking cable. You do the same thing and pick up the other side. I've been working structural steel since I was 18 years old. I've been on towers probably 1,000 feet high. Well, a lot of people are afraid of heights like that. So automatically every iron worker's got an ego. You know, I mean, you're doing something somebody else can't do. Plus you get to wear a tool belt. Well, I mean, when you're a kid, 18 years old, and you've got wrenches in like holsters, pew, 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 You're like a cowboy. But I always knew I was going to be an iron worker. Both my older brothers were iron workers. My father was an iron worker. It was just a natural course of events. My father... My father was very disappointed that I did not go to college. We had a college boy at work this summer. One time he sees a book in my back pocket and he's amazed. He says to me, "You read?" That's what really bothers you sometimes. You know, the non-recognition by other people. To say a man is just a laborer or a woman is just a waitress, it really gets to you. Some mornings I look across the skyline for a building I've worked on. Say that office building right there, that white one. You see that one? I know that there's a guy sitting in a corner office right there behind his $5,000 desk, and he's never gonna think about me. But yeah, I think about him sometimes.
Amanda, where's that P&L report?
It's on your desk!
Why is it not in my hand?
I'm a project manager. I am here at work at 7:30 a.m. and I leave at 8 p.m. In between my meetings, I answer messages and email and try to avoid my boss. You always have a boss, and sometimes you have an okay boss, and sometimes you have a Satan boss. He's not behind me, is he? Oh, I wish these walls were like a little higher. I have been in a lot of different cubicles. I have been in the high wall cubes. I've been in the half-height cubes. But listen, the way things are these days, I am glad to be in any cubicle at all. I have friends who would kill for this job, for any job. When I got this job, I thought I was going to get as much as I could from the company. Then I'd move on and get more money. I've been here for years, and I have no real sense of loyalty because I know they have a business to run and they'll lay me off if it's prudent. And I accept this. There are days that I feel that this job is worse than my first job in the fast food industry.
This is my first job. I smell like a burger. The register is easy. Hey, you want a burger? I hit the picture of the burger. Every day, the same old thing. Hello, chicken nugget, quarter pounder. But I wait for that phone to ring, that phone to ring. The phone at the end of the counter. When I see the manager writing down an order. When I see the manager making change. When I see the manager writing an address, I whisper, yes, give me some change and send me on my way. Okay, I'm off on a delivery and I'm finally on my own. Off on a delivery. Delivery, peace, and I'm headed for parts unknown. Off on a delivery. Fresh air and exercise, and sometimes I throw in some extra fries. For calling it into date, my world is great until they send me away on a delivery. And the wind is in my hair. Off on a delivery. No one's watching me, I can wander anywhere. But the food is getting cold, and so I'll do as I am told. Responsibilities, I have responsibilities. See, my father sits at home, he doesn't work anymore. Well, my mother works a double shift at the department store. And it's nice not having to ask for money. And it's nice not having to ask for dinner. And it's nice on nights when you have to get away. Delivery. day, I'm putting money away. Hey, you know what they say, slow and steady. I'm making minimum wage, it's pretty good for my age. If I can manage to save,
I'll be ready to go.
wherever I gotta go, wherever destiny leads me. For now the restaurant feeds me and my family needs me. Delivery! Yes! The customers always arrive.
My delivery.
Thanks for getting me out of the house tonight. I keep the order straight and I say sorry if I'm late.
You're late.
Some extra napkins for your plate for making you wait. That'll be $12.98 on your delivery. I can wander out of range
My delivery.
towards a future new and strange. This job is just a start, but wait, I haven't told you my favorite part. It's when they pay, and then they say,
Ah, what the hell? Keep the change.
keep the change, keep the change, keep the change, and bit by bit I keep the change. If I save a little every day, this job's gonna deliver me far away. And I'll look back on this and say, thank God for delivery!
Look, just make it happen. I don't care how. Figure it out, get back to me. I'm a guy who likes to work. Some people enjoy tennis. I enjoy work. I enjoy being a leader. I enjoy being the guy everybody looks to. I like the responsibility of having a team of people working for me. In our world of money, money management is still the sexiest job there is. Money's hot. And if someone wants to call me a predator, a capitalist tool, a modern robber baron, I take it as a compliment. Absolutely. That's what this country's about, the free market. Oh, it's not perfect, but if they would leave it alone, it would sure as hell correct itself better than any regulator can. Yeah, some companies will go away. Some people will lose jobs, some people will lose money, but that's just basic capitalism. Who developed America? The regulators? The SEC? Or was it the Mellons? The Rockefellers? I mean, tell me what they did bad. Rockefeller exploited some workers in the copper fields. Maybe he shot some of them. Fine, not perfect. But who benefited? There's still Standard Oil, isn't there? And Mellon's Bank is still around. Listen, how many charities were started by these people? How many museums, theaters, national parks are here for us to enjoy thanks to the robber barons? These were the giants who built the cities, who built our country. Unless you have losers, you cannot have winners. Hold on, gotta take this. Yeah. Okay, give me 5 minutes. Yeah, okay. Look, I'm gonna have to cut this short. I need to get back on the phone before the markets close overseas. Everybody works long hours these days. Kid wants to make it, gotta be willing to work long hours. And he's gotta know how to outsmart the regulators to make a profit. It's easy. Christ, if you can't outsmart one little government staff, you shouldn't come to work in the morning. I should be their teacher. You know, I always wanted to teach. That's what I'd like to do when I get tired of all this. Get involved with young people. Pass along my knowledge, my experience, my values.
Hello, my name is Valerie Bogan, and I am the principal of Kalamazoo Central High School. I am the oldest of 4. I grew up in a 2-parent home, and I believed at that moment in time in my life that we were a upper middle class family. I did not know we were actually a poor family because we didn't live like it. My father worked at Georgia Pacific, but he was a minister. My mother didn't work. So we grew up on the north side of Kalamazoo, and it wasn't always a pleasant experience. So I have a twin sister. We were light-skinned black girls with long hair. We were often teased. My maiden name is White, and so people would call us little white girls. There was a point in time in our life where we didn't fit in with anybody. We were too light to be black and too dark to be white. I was glad that we had each other. I had some great teachers in my life. Growing up, I wanted to be a teacher.
But my career focus led me to counseling and administration in the Kalamazoo and Battle Creek school systems. I've been at Kalamazoo Central for the last 10 years. I've seen a lot of shifts in education. Currently, we have a state evaluation system where teachers, schools, and administrators are primarily evaluated by how well their students perform on standardized tests. But teachers and staff also teach compassion, understanding, life skills, and survival. There are times when they allow a student to put their head down on the desk or to sleep in class because they know that that student slept on the street the night before. Or they may allow a student to put their head down because they know that that student may have encountered something different the night before. They know that a student may need to listen to music, to calm themselves, or take a walk so they can come back to class and focus. They have extra snacks in their class because they know that children are hungry. They're just trying to help that student survive in their class. Sometimes it's why don't you pass on the homework and stay after school for additional support? And sometimes it's not today. But we will be getting back to that tomorrow. Many of these things are not reflected in the evaluation of teachers in schools. The flip side of that is rigor, expectation, and helping students understand what and why they are learning and how they can apply it to real-world situations. That means incorporating stories and materials into lessons that allow a student to see themselves represented positively. So, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter what pronouns you use. It doesn't matter what country you're from. All students should feel welcome. At this school, we want our students of color, our students in the LGBTQ+ community, our students whose first language is not English, our students with disabilities, and, well, all students to feel welcome here. So we've learned to shift how we do things. Unfortunately, today's student does not know a world without school shootings. During a crisis, you either fight, flight, or freeze. Throughout the school year, we conduct lockdown drills so that staff and students can understand how they respond in crisis. Our students know during a lockdown to barricade the door and prepare for an intruder. We teach them ALICE, which means alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. Some of my former students who attended Michigan State told me they knew exactly what to do when that unimaginable crisis struck their campus. Yes, we have become a lot more than educators. We are doctors, nurses, social workers, psychologists, and security, just to name a few. You have to know more than just your content to work at a school. A lot has changed for teachers. It's not just preparing lessons. It's really preparing our children for life.
My name is Rose Hoffman. I teach 3rd grade. Teaching's a profession I've loved and still love. It's been my ambition since I was 8 years old. I used to think teachers had golden toilets. They didn't do anything we common people did. I tell my kids, Mrs. Hoffman's here. Everybody works. Working is a blessing. Now, it used to be I had 18 to 20 children who stayed in my class from the beginning bell to the very end. Today, I have 37 in my class. The children come in, they're on their cell phones, and then they scatter to other classrooms. Leave for art therapy, computer labs. Oh, these children know everything. Well, everything that is about computers. Oh, yes. I've seen great changes since I began teaching, September 6th, 1984. My classroom was always a showcase. In those days we did it ourselves, with colorful pictures and shots on the wall, a snowman in winter, a pumpkin in fall, and all my supplies were in neat little piles on the shelves. My children were always respectful. When I said class attention, they froze. If I had to leave for a minute or two, they always found something constructive to do. And everyone called me Mrs. Hoffman, not God forbid Rose. But kids don't know how to behave anymore, fearing a gunman might walk through the door. We train them to be still and stay on the floor. No spitballs or comic books now. They want me to teach in a classroom like that, but nobody tells me how. Well, I made a big deal about spelling, but they learned by the time I got through. They copied the words till they knew them by heart, spelled them aloud, and each did their part. And gold stars were given to those who made sentences too. But who needs to spell when you're texting all day? Spell check is OMG awesome, they say. Like iPads to add and subtract because, hey, a pencil's for dinosaurs now. The way I've been teaching for 41 years is no longer effective, or so it appears. Well, damn it, it worked for me then, so what's wrong with it now? They say I'm supposed to keep up with the times, but nobody ever tells me how. There is one little girl who stands out in my mind in all my years of teaching. Eva Held, my favorite. She was never any trouble. I see her every once in a while at the hospital. She gives no trouble today either. She has the same smile for everyone.
Hi, my name is Eva Hout, and I'm the nurse manager for the cardiology unit here at Bronson Methodist Hospital. I've had the privilege to be a nurse here for the last 17 years. I still have daily interactions with patients and pass medications, start IVs, blood draws, help with admission and discharges. The rewards are just seeing the connections that you have, with your team. You go through some of the toughest times and some of the worst times together as a team, and that's been some of the most surprisingly rewarding part of being a nurse. Seeing patients that get better over time, they're meeting milestones, and they're so excited, and you're a part of that hope. But then, the rewarding parts are also just being there for people at end of life, and that's very, very difficult. But that's also rewarding, and maybe even one of the most rewarding parts of nursing for me.
Looking back at COVID, I'm not sure how we even made it. There was a lot of fear. People had their own families, their own children, and we were terrified. Initially, we were told not to go into the patients' rooms for more than 15 minutes at a time. And usually we're in and out of there all day long. And then you have just all of this guilt and empathy for the patients because They're in there by themselves, and they're completely isolated from their families, and they're isolated from us as well. We were wearing the N95 masks, and it was very, very hard just to have interaction with your patient because you rely so much on eyes and facial expressions to communicate. We'd be smiling, but sometimes the patients would think, "Oh, are you upset?" And they would ask you. The hardest was when they couldn't have visitors. I had this one patient who had been in the hospital for about 6 weeks, and I had such a connection with this person that when I knew things were starting to get closer, on my day off, I would pick up an extra shift so that I could be with them. Unfortunately, they did end up passing away in the hospital. And I just felt so honored that I could be with them that day. I have so much compassion for the families that couldn't be there. Their loved ones are passing away and they're on an iPad. It was an emotional time and definitely led to some staff burnout. I think we lost a couple of hundred hospital workers. But we had the most amazing support. The community brought food and drinks, and a lot of the schools sent handwritten notes and cards, and we got a lot of hand-drawn pictures from the elementary schools. And that was for a good 2-year time frame. People would come and they would write inspirational quotes in chalk on the sidewalk outside. It was amazing. I just can't even say enough about what they did for us. And I so admire my people who came to work every day, fearful and worried about their own lives, but being there for others and other people's loved ones. I think it really highlighted what we do as a medical profession. No matter what's going on in the world and no matter what we're fearful about in our own lives, we're always there to help in times of crisis. For as long as I'm physically able, I will always be a nurse. I love my leadership position and I love supporting my staff and my organization, but my heart will always lie at the bedside.
If you want to have a thrill, there's no comparison to climbing on a steel truck and going out here on I-94. The minute you get in that truck, you forget about the wife and kids you just kissed goodbye, and the adrenaline starts pumping. Breaker number 9, big buddy, put your ears on for me now. Big truck, I gotta have a big line. So come on, brother trucker, you gotta come back, Keep seeing double, lest I close one eye. I got to roll, 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 brother trucker. Showing up for shame about the shape I'm in. Roll, 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 brother trucker. I'm back on my wheels again. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Outward bound from South Bend. Roll, 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 brother trucker. I'm back on my wheels again. I'm running out of whites. Goddamn, dim those headlights. 4 hours of sleep in the last 2 nights, but I'm gonna be alright. I've got to roll, 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 brother trucker. I say where and you say where. I say roll, 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 brother trucker. I'm back on my wheels again. I got to roll, 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 brother trucker. Back it on up and do it again. Roll, 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 brother trucker. I'm back on my wheels again. You're gone for a week, 2 weeks. Picking up a load at one port and delivering it to another. You sit in that truck and your only companionship is your own thoughts. You don't want to get stuck thinking about your problems at home. So yeah, we truckers fantasize something tremendous. You turn on your radio and you think about the girl behind that voice. Woo! And you build up something in your mind until you begin to believe it. Moon over Chicago. Big state police, I'm in a hurry. Won't you let me go in peace? I'm independent. I ain't got no Teamster dough. And the AFL and the CIO, they still all on the road. And the only man telling me where to go is the man who owns the load. He said, roll, 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 brother trucker. I say where and you say where. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on my wheels again. I say, roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on up and do it again. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on my wheels again. Back on my wheels again. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Back it on up and do it again. Roll, 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 brother trucker. Back on my wheels again. Back on my wheels again. Coming home to your wife can be sort of a letdown. She's got to raise the kids. She's got to fight off the bill collectors. When you do make it home, you're so tired, you'd rather be sleeping than getting ready to go out on a Saturday night. I make 2 round trips from Chicago to Detroit and pass within 4 blocks of my house and never go home. Easier just to keep going. So you call your wife and let her know you won't be back. Hey, baby. Yeah, hello? 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 Effing phone company.
Verizon Tech Support, this is Jose. How may I help you?
Yeah, this number isn't working and I have like 5 bars.
I'm sorry you're having trouble, sir. May I have the number you were calling?
Yeah, 269-765-5910.
I'm sorry, sir. All circuits in your area are busy.
What? After all this money we pay for these phones? What's wrong with you people?
I'm sorry, sir. Why don't you wait 5 minutes, then
No.
place your call again? You think he'd be happy to get a live person instead of a computer. Sometimes you really want to talk to them if they sound upset. For me, it's a temptation to say, gee, what's the matter? But you can't say any more than, I'm sorry you're having trouble. If you get caught talking to a customer, that's 1 mark against you. 3 marks and you're... One woman said to me, operator, I'm lonesome. Will you talk to me? And I said, gee, I'm sorry, I just can't. But you can't. I'm a communications person and I can't communicate.
So, I always thought of the receptionist as the loser at the front desk taking phone messages. Well, now I'm one, so I had to change my opinion. She had to be special, right? 'Cause I'm so special. I was fine until we had this office party. I'd be having a fairly intelligent conversation when someone would ask me what I did. When I'd say, I'm a receptionist, they'd make an excuse and walk away. So now, I make up other names for what I do. Communications control. Entry management. I'm tired at the end of the day.
It's strange, but you get tired of talking. My mouth gets tired because you talk constantly for 6 hours straight
There is
without
a
a 10-minute
break in the day that's quiet.
You can't think about it. Everyone's in
What
a
I
hurry
do
to
all
talk
day
to
is I say
someone
what I have
else,
to
but
say as
not talk
quickly
to
as
you.
possible and then switch
You're
the
sitting
call
in
to
a
whoever
room the
it's going
size
to.
of a gymnasium,
I've noticed people told
surrounded
me
by
to slow
people,
down
talking
when
to
I'm
people
talking.
thousands of miles away.
I never listen in on a phone conversation.
Do I listen in on conversations?
But let me tell you, some people really do.
Especially if you're working
AT&T
late
and
at
all
night.
the girls listened
Sometimes
in
the
on
people
phone
on the line are
conversations.
so absurd.
I don't
They'll
care
sit
who
there and
you
laugh
are. If
until
you're
there are
working
tears
nights
are
and it's
rolling
real
down
quiet,
your face.
you're gonna listen in on phone conversations.
It makes the night go faster.
Sometimes to make the day go faster, I'll do drawings. Mondrian sort of things. Never people. I pretend I'm alone and things are quiet. I call it the land of no phone.
I
never answer the phone at home.
Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. No, thank you. My husband gets the paper at the office and I read it online. No, I don't have an office. I don't work. I mean, I work. Of course I work. It's just, I don't have a job. Anyway, thanks for the offer. I don't work. I mean, I work. Of course I work. It's just, I don't have a job. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I guess in my Mother's Day, they would call me a housewife. That's funny. It's not like I sit around at home watching reality TV shows all day. I have a lot of work to do. It's just you want something more exciting to talk about at a dinner party, you know? Something that matters. What I do only matters to 3 people. All I am is just a housewife. Nothing special, nothing great. What I do is kinda boring. If you'd rather, it can wait. All I am is someone's mother. All I am is someone's wife. All of which seems unimportant. All it is just my life. Do the laundry, wash the dishes, take the dog out, clean the house, shop for groceries, look for specials. Oh, God, it seems so Mickey Mouse. Drop the kids off, pick the shirts up, try to lose weight, try again. Keep the troops fed, pick their things up, lose your patience, count to 10.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All I am is just a housewife.
Just a housewife.
Nothing great.
What I do is
out of fashion.
what I feel is
out of date.
all I am is someone's mother.
Right away I'm not too bright.
What I do is
unfulfilling.
so the TV talk shows tell me every night.
I don't mean to complain at all, but they make you feel like you're 2 feet tall when you're just a wife.
Just a housewife.
All they see are the pots and pans and the Pepsi cans of a person's life. You're a whiz if you go to work, but you're just a jerk if you say you want. People say that they think it's fine if the choice is mine.
But you know they don't. What I do, what I choose to do may be dumb to you, but it's not to me. Is it dumb that they need me there? Is it dumb to care?
'Cause I do, you see.
And I mean, did you ever think, really stop and think what a job it was? Doing all the things that a housewife does.
I'm afraid it's unimpressive.
All I am is someone's mother.
Nothing special. What I do is
What I do
unexciting.
is kind of dumb.
Take the kids here, take the kids there. I don't mean to complain at all.
All I am is
Busy, busy,
every day. All I am is
like my mother.
all I am is
Just a housewife.
Out Front Kalamazoo is the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer advocacy center for Kalamazoo and our surrounding communities. We run the second largest Pride festival, Kalamazoo Pride. We're located right downtown across from the Kalamazoo Public Library. We've been around for a little over 30 plus years. My name is Mike Cleggs. I am the Director of Programs. I have been here for a little over 7-ish years, and I really enjoy what I do. I am originally from Detroit. My mother was a single parent. I got bullied a lot and picked on a lot when I was younger. I'm just a small boy from Detroit that really didn't talk about this stuff, you know. In Southern Baptist family, we didn't talk about LGBTQ. Most of my family is straight. Most of my friends were straight, but I'm still gay, you know.
When I was in 8th grade, we moved, and I had to go to a new school. I didn't know anybody, and I met this girl. Long story short, I was sitting next to her all the time. She was like, "I think you're gay." I literally had no idea what she was talking about because I'd never been exposed to it. But after she talked about it more and she explained it to me, that's exactly how I felt. I just didn't have the resources to know that. When I looked at another girl, I didn't have the same feelings or the same thoughts as when I looked at another boy. No one made me gay. A lot of arguments I hear is that teachers are teaching our children to be gay. No teacher said anything to me about being gay. It was just something that was always within me, and I never had the vocabulary. This world of technology and information makes people have this misconception that this is new. It isn't new. It's just that we were silenced so much and for so long. We didn't live in an environment to learn who we were. We didn't know that there were people out there that were like us to talk to. And so we stayed quiet most of the time, you know? A lot of that pressure is put on out front as the LGBTQ center to be everything for everyone. My biggest challenge is trying to change the culture, to diversify the community. I would like to make out front more inclusive of people who are brown and black. Because being LGBTQ black and brown is different than being LGBTQ black. How do you make a systemic change? That's my biggest challenge. We've worked for many years trying to help youths and adults experiencing homelessness. Unfortunately, a lot of LGBTQ people are in that situation due to the lack of support from their families. Last year, we were finally able to open what we call the Legacy House, a shelter for LGBTQ youth experiencing homelessness. There are families too that come to us, especially families with transgender and non-binary youth. They're looking for resources and other families that they can connect with and learn how to better support their children. And so, we created the group called Proud Families, where families can meet each other and feel like they are not alone. They talk about how to keep yourself and your child safe. I asked this question at a party recently. How many people can truly say that they love their job? Almost everybody raised their hand, and that shocked me. So I'll ask you, how many of you love what you do? Raise your hand. All right, Kelly. Later in the party, we talked about what we do. I work with kids and families, and I truly love what I do.
I was raised by Hastings, Michigan, and a 120-acre farm. I was born in 1946, and the market opened in 1947. And Mom and I and all of us went to market in Kalamazoo at Bank Street with a steak truck. I was just a year old, so I went to market in a high chair. We killed all our chickens, and we raised all our produce, and we had pigs and chickens and eggs. Farming is a way of life. It's not just something you do. You gotta, if you're born into it and they teach you how to do it, it's good. But if you're starting out from scratch, it's a whole new ball game. My husband and I met at the Kalamazoo Farmers Market. We got married in 1966. I met my husband here, and in this farm that we own now, we bought in 1975, and it was his uncle's farm. There was nothing here when we came to this 80-acre farm.
And after about 8 years, we put underground irrigation in the whole farm, and then we really started going to market, and we started farming full time. Back then, we had 4 stands at the Kalamazoo Farmers Market. We raised 40 acres of produce. It was all hand-picked, washed, sorted, and put in the cooler, and so everything was fresh and beautiful and bunched, and we have the greatest customers in the world. We love farming, and we love bringing them fresh, nutritious food. Right now, we have about 10 acres of sweet corn, green beans, yellow beans, and Kentucky wonder beans. The worst thing about farming are probably the long hours. And the worst thing is picking in the rain. No matter what it is, on Friday, if it's raining or whatever, you have to pick because you got to get that load ready for market on Saturday because that's how you make your living and that's how you pay your bills. And so if you don't get the load there, the people are disappointed. I have the most wonderful customers. I know a lot of faces, but not all their names. One of my ladies who passed away a couple of months ago had been my customer forever. Every time she came to the stand, she was so pleasant and wonderful. She'd always leave a tip where we didn't want a tip, but she said, "Oh, here, just take this." And she made you feel like you were really worth something and that she enjoyed the work you did and what your stand looked like. And we just love our customers. It is the best part of the whole farming thing, bringing our produce to the Kalamazoo Farmers Market. I'm happy with the way my life turned out. There are days, no matter what your job is, you're not happy with your job. We've had days where the tractor breaks down and we're stuck in the mud. And the golf carts won't run, and you put up with all these things, but at the end, when you get this food all displayed on your market stand and everybody says, "Oh my God, your stand, it's so beautiful." Well, yes, it's just worth it all.
According to my mom, I was born on a cotton sack out in the fields because she had no money to go to the hospital. We used to migrate from Michigan to Arizona and back and forth. And the things I saw, they shaped my life. I started picking crops when I was 8. Couldn't do much, but every little bit counts. Every time I would get behind on my chores, I would get a carrot thrown at me by my parents. But I would daydream. I would picture my mom living in the same place all the time and being admired by all the people in the community. All of a sudden, I'd be rudely awakened by a broken carrot. I remember we just got into Michigan to pick the carrot harvest. It was very cold. We just had a little old blanket for the 4 of us kids in the tent, so I stole a brand new blanket that belonged to the grower. When we got under that blanket, it was nice. The next morning, the grower told my mom that he would turn us in unless she gave him back the blanket. Sterilized. So my mom and I went to the river and we scrubbed the blanket and she ironed it and sent it back to the grower. Thank God, we got a spanking for that.
Donde sei
my dad died, my mom would go to her tent, and we kids would roughhouse and everything. And then we'd go to the tent where my mom was sleeping, and we'd see her cry. When I asked her why she was crying, she never gave me an answer. All she said was things would get better. But that day she thought would be better, it never came for her. If people could see, in the winter, ice on the fields, in the summer, picking watermelons in 105 degrees, when people had melons or cucumbers or lettuce, they don't know how they got on their table. If I had enough money, I would take busloads of people out to the fields and into the labor camps. Then they would know how that fine salad got on their table. Cuando Dios a los pobres un lugar dará.
Hi, I'm Justin Powell, owner of LaRue's Family Restaurant here in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
We just have such a great, loyal customer base, and we're very grateful for that. It's just so great to see how much the community appreciates us and how much we appreciate them. We have, without exaggerating, dozens and dozens of customers who eat there maybe 4 or 5 times a week. We're their kitchen. And that was one of the tough parts going through COVID, is you had a lot of people who would come and pick up their meal every day, and they just want to hang out. It was their place to go, to just be around other people. A lot of single people that don't have anywhere else or anyone else to go to, we're that for them. The absolute best thing about my job is to serve my family, my friends, my teammates, my kids' families, people from the community. They all come to eat at LaRue's, and I get to serve them a meal. And it might not seem like that's a lot, but it's a lot to them, and it means a lot to me.
LaRue's is located on Stadium Drive near 9th Street in Ashtimo. We serve breakfast and lunch daily. Dave LaRue, who had worked for Bill Knapp's for years, bought the restaurant in 1996. I had been working as a manager at Rixie's restaurant for about 3 years when I met Dave. We talked for about half an hour, and it was a perfect match. I became his general manager, and here we are 18 years later, and I now own LaRue's. Dave was an excellent mentor. He taught me a lot of patience. He helped me learn that you can't do any of this without everybody that's a part of your organization. From your kitchen manager to your dishwasher. Every job is important. And that's really helped me over the years. LaRue's has always been a cash business. We have never accepted credit or debit cards as a form of payment. You see, those transactions incur a fee, and we take those funds and allocate them to our staff. Typically in the restaurant industry, you want to be at about 25% labor cost. We're probably closer to 35%. But that is why we have had employees who have been with us for 20 years, 15 years, even 10 years. We value our employees. And the service you get at LaRue's makes up for that little inconvenience. My wife, Carrie, and I have been together for about 15 years. We've been blessed with 2 amazing kids. I am a person who's always put his career first. Is that a fault? Maybe. I was always taught that there's a list of where you put your priorities, and God comes first, family comes second, and career comes third. And I don't think I've always adhered to that. I've sacrificed family reunions, graduation parties, weddings, because I work every weekend. And I've always struggled with that, because I love my work so much. My customers and my staff are my extended family. A lot of times people will ask, oh, doesn't it stink that you have to work every Saturday and Sunday? And I would say those are my favorite days to work. That's when we're the busiest. That's when you really get to show off your skills and show off how talented your team and your staff is and how good you are. And that's when we get to see the most people from the community and really utilize our skills. And so I would say that's probably the absolute best part of my job, is just being able to serve my community and my family and my friends.
Good evening, my lord. What's exciting at the bar that I can offer? It would get very boring if I had to say, would you like a cocktail over and over again? So I come out different for my own enjoyment. I say, what's exciting at the bar that I can offer, my lord? Or something. Maybe with cocktails I offer a little philosophy. With coffee I give them some political science. I have an opinion on every single subject that there is. My bosses don't like it, so I have to speak sotto voce. But if I get heated, I don't give a damn. I speak like an Italian speaks. I have to be a waitress. How else does the whole world come to me? Everyone wants to eat, everyone has hunger, and I serve them. I give service. I cannot be servile. There's a difference. I get intoxicated by giving service. It becomes theatrical, and I am on stage and I feel like I'm Mata Hari. I'm on stage. There's some don't care when they put down a plate. There's a sound. Not with me. When they move a chair, it'll scrape with a grate on the ground. Not with me. I will hold my hand right when I place a glass. Notice how I stand right as customers pass. Serve a demi-tasse or a vodka martini with grace rarely seen when backed by Puccini. It's an art to be a fine waitress, to see that you pleasure each guest. There's a twist to my wrist when I bring your steak in, and watch how I take in your liver and bacon. It all will be stylish and smart. That's what makes it an art. I remember one day, as I do now and then, I had shakes. Down I went. There with my tray full of coffees and cordials and cakes. Down I went. But I kept my poise, not one guest heard me fall. Never made a noise, not one noise, food and all. If you have to crawl, you give them what they like. You carry your tray like it's almost ballet-like. It's an art to be a fine waitress. Each evening I treasure the test. Like tonight was a fight, 'cause they hired this bus boy, this clothes all a muss boy, this guests heard him cuss boy. Did we have a quick heart to heart? Even that is an art. Tips, ha! Tips are important to people like captains and barmen. For them, it's a tipsy. For me, I'm a gypsy. Just toss me a coin, and I suddenly feel like I'm Carmen. Oh, oh, oh. So on through the ulcer, the backache, the hot, sweaty feet. On you go. Through is your knife dull, sir? To Madam wants what with her meat? On you go. 2 a.m. approaches, the curtains descend. There among the roaches, my act's at an end. Every night I tend to find myself crying There's no work so trying or so satisfying. I tell everyone that I'm a waitress and I'm proud. When someone comes to me and says, hey, you're terrific, how come you're just a waitress? You know what I say to them? I say, why? Don't you think you deserve to be served by me? It's an art. It's an art to be a waitress. To do without leisure or rest.
Can we have a check, please?
As I zoom through the room,
please,
display
bring some more of these.
No one else has, I swear. No one else has my lilt.
This
When I say,
and order to go.
see, it gives me a glow.
I take this, I got this.
Every time I prove I'm a pro.
I take this, hurry up, miss.
Maybe I'm not quite
Miss.
Michelangelo.
And a bag for my dog.
But I'm not just a waitress.
You were great,
I'm a
but I'm late.
waitress.
A check, please, a change, please. Come on, please, lady, let's go.
My name's Ben Bierlein, and my company's About You Builders Incorporated. We're a local company here in Kalamazoo that's been in business for 22 years. And we do both new construction, and my love is really for remodel. And we're in the middle of a remodel right now. I was raised in Kalamazoo my whole life and went to Kalamazoo Public Schools, and then continued my education at Western Michigan University with a business management degree. Well, when I got done with my degree, I managed and sold windows for about 2 or 2.5 years. So I left there, and with the installation manager from there, we started About You Builders.
The reason I came up with a name for my company was, back then, we used phone books. And I thought it'd be a good position to have, an A followed by a B in the phone book. But more importantly, I figured that if I build something for you, it shouldn't be about me, it should be about you. And I am pretty proud to say that every customer I've worked for from the beginning of About You Builders, I've gotten a chance to work for again, or got the chance to work for their friends and family. Most all of my business, aside from my truck being decaled and sometimes a yard sign, is all word of mouth. In the beginning, we did a lot of remodel work, and then new construction. And about 2 years into the business, my partner decided he wanted to go back to school. So the business became my own. I was newly married, didn't have any kids, and really had a desire to build my own house. I built it on nights and weekends. Back then, my wife Jessie was going through graduate school, and we were basically carrying 2 mortgages. I remember one night returning bottles to buy dinner, things were that tight. We still rent out that first house. About 2 years after that, I built us a bigger 2-story house with a 3-stall garage. We wound up selling that house and buying a house in a desirable neighborhood that needed a tremendous amount of remodel. It took me about 3 or 4, well, honestly, a builder's house is never 100% finished. When we embark in a career in the trades, it's different from any other occupation. Most people need us in some way. A plumber, an electrician, a drywall, or a concrete person. I do think, though, that a lot of people don't have a lot of respect or value people in the trades. That because you work with your hands, you're not smart. And I think that's one of the reasons we don't have a lot of people going into the trades. Not every kid is college material, but it's not because they're dumb. It's because their aptitudes lean towards creating and building and fixing things. And we have to consider those kids who, like me, weren't engaged in school. It wasn't because I wasn't smart. Nobody told me there was a different option besides going to college. I've made a great living for myself. Are we rich? No. But I have control of my time. I can say yes or no to the jobs I choose to do. And we've been fortunate in the fact that it affords us a nice life. To have a home and a car, and I get to go on vacations with my family. Yeah, it's a good life. My friend Joe Zitti was a stonemason. He's retired now, but I remember him saying,
"It's a pretty good day laying stone. You get interested in what you're doing and you usually fight the clock the other way. Oh, you're not looking for quitting. You're wondering you haven't got enough done and it's almost quitting time."
There isn't a house I've built that I don't look at every time I go by. And Joe, he'll still notice if there's one stone crooked. The people that live there might not notice, but Joe will notice. Stone was his business. Stone was his life. He builds a house with his hands. 30 years go by, it stands where nothing stood. A house of stone, the mason sleeps real good. He does his workday flies. Quitting time's a big surprise. And then it's one more stone to get just right. It's always one more stone before the night. Every house he builds, every stone he lays, it's not just making money or counting off the days.
I'm retired now. I had plans to build a stone cabin over on the Crooked Lake with stone cabinets in the kitchen. Everything stone. A stone front door. That was gonna be very heavy. All my dreams seemed to have a piece of rock mixed up in them. But then my wife died.
He builds a house with his hands. 100 years go by, it stands. It tells you who he was. A life goes fast, but the work a mason does, it's made to last. The work a mason does.
There's nothing on this earth gonna last forever. But with stone, you're getting pretty close.
It's made to last.
When I retired, first 2 years I was downhearted. I had no place to go, nothing to do. Then I gave myself a good going over. Joe, I said, you can't sit at home like that and waste your time. You gotta get out and do things. Well, the day goes pretty fast for me now. I don't daydream at all. I just think of something and I forget it. That daydreaming don't do you no good. Keep busy, keep moving. That's the trick. You wake at 10, fold up the bed. You don't want to leave your couch open all day, you know. It's depressing. You cook an egg, you toast some bread. You cook for yourself, you can save a bundle. If you don't keep track of your money, who will? You think about the day ahead. Don't go feeling sorry for yourself. It's like I said, you can sit at home and be mad at the world, or you can get out and do things. You take a walk, You meet a chum. This one guy lives down by Sarkozy Bakery. Boy, you should see the nice aroma. You shoot the bull, you argue some, and maybe he calls up a couple other fellas to come over, play some poker. You lose a gin until they come. This guy remembers what card you picked up, the dirty bum. Ah, but even getting beat at gin beats doing nothing. You take a bus, you take a train, you go visit your wife's grave. On the way, you read the Reader's Digest. It does you good to use your brain. Or maybe you go out and see your cousin. Bring a six-pack along. You take a stroll down memory lane. When we were young, we was always together. And raising Cain. We go back a long ways, him and me. Ah, the times we had. I remember once, back in '62, we were at this fair with these girls we knew on this crazy ride where you screamed or you prayed. The Big Dipper, they called it. We could hardly walk as we left the car, so we staggered down for a candy bar. Then we sat and laughed at the penny arcade. At 6 o'clock, you watch the news. Them politicians get you so mad you throw your slippers at the set. You cook some franks, no big to-dos. Most nights you lay around, straighten up, maybe call your daughter. You watch a game, you take a snooze. But then there's Sunday. Sunday's different. You change your shirt and shine your shoes, 'cause you're going to the Green Top Tavern. You shoot some pool, you drink some beer. You don't need to drink a lot to have a good time, maybe 3, 4 in an evening. You find a pal, you bend his ear. You meet a lot of your old crowd there Sundays. Sometimes a bunch of you sing the kind of song you never hear, like My Girl or Good Vibrations. And then you cheer. Last Sunday night we sang Moon River. Believe it or not, I once did a waltz to that tune. Honest to God. It was at a dance. I was 17, and the girl was like from a magazine, and the lights were low, and I really mean low. I think a couple of my friends had something to do with that. And I kissed her cheek as we waltzed away. I remember that like it's yesterday. Boy, was she surprised. I could hear her say, "Joe." They drive you home from round the block. You take your cash out of your sock. You fix the bed, you check the lock. You wind the clock. When I retired, a lot of people told me, "Joe, you got your health, you shouldn't have done it." But it was too late. I don't know why I retired. My daughter was afraid of me being alone, so she talked me into moving into Heritage's new senior community. It's real nice. I've made some new friends. I just fear that day will come when I can't take care of myself no more. That's not me, you know. That's not Joe.
He had a very good day today. We went down to the senior center just a mile away. Some days he only wants to stay at home, but on Tuesdays they play music and they dance. You should have seen him dance. They were playing Spanish music, he's a ham. He likes to make the nurses smile. Some days he can't remember who I am, but today he was lucid for a little while. Through it all, I check his pulse, I change his clothes. Where are his children? Heaven knows. It doesn't pay much, but I get through because I do the work that no one else will do.
She had a very good day today. We went to a nearby park where she likes to play. She's only 3, but she can do it all. And today we took her scooter for a ride. You should have seen her glide, and I was terrified. I spent the afternoon just running by her side. The sun came down and then we brought her home. Her parents work late, we tuck her in each night. And I sing, mahal kita, minamahal kita, mahal na mahal kita, till she's asleep. She says, I love you, and I love her too, while I do all the work her mother doesn't do.
I have a family of my own.
I have a daughter back at home.
I send whatever I can
with no one singing her to sleep. And sometimes I close my eyes and imagine I am there.
Duérmete,
Mahal kita,
duérmete,
minamahal kita.
hasta la madrugada, duérmate.
Mahal
We
kita,
had a very good day
minamahal
today.
kita.
We went
Mahal
down
na
to the
mahal
senior
kita,
center just a
mahal
mile
kita.
away. One day my dreams are gonna all come true.
For now I do what no one wants to do.
For now I do
what no one wants to do.
My name's Andrea Meninga. I work at Residential Opportunities. I've been here for the last 26 years. We work with folks with intellectual disabilities and mental illness, and we work with children with autism and behavioral issues. The direct care staff have probably one of the most important roles at ROI. They provide the direct supports to help the people we serve be as independent as possible. Every single direct care staff will do something a little different based on the person that they're working with, but we do things like cook and clean and explore the community and work with people towards goals that they set for themselves and towards goals that they set with the help of the service team that they choose for themselves. They're providing a little bit of teaching and a little bit of caregiving and a little bit of every single thing that's required of them. I think that we all have to wear so many hats, but that is a fun, it's just a fun job.
Our goal is to help folks who always wanted to have their own apartments. At one site, we have 13 people, and they live in 6 or 7 different apartments. The amount of care they receive ranges from a couple hours a day to 24 hours a day. It's really nice to see folks get into their own space, create their own lives, have friends and a job and community opportunities. My people tell me directly, this is my own apartment, and this is what I've worked for. I signed a lease, and I get to live here. I picked out all the stuff on the walls and I picked out all the furniture. I think there was a time in their lives when somebody else did that for them and they always wondered what it'd be like if they did it themselves. They are able to walk to a neighbor's house and eat dinner. They're able to go to a neighbor's house and watch a movie. But if they want to be by themselves, if they live alone, they shut the door and lock it. We can help facilitate relationships and work on skills that come with being a friend that you and I might take for granted. This particular set is a little bit older. I often refer to them as the show Friends for the senior set. Some of them come to me and say, I wish I could be on a team, or I wish I could be a part of a band, or I wish I could be in a choir. I'd like to have a job, go to school. I'd like to fly on an airplane and go on vacation. Then we help them put that together and we see what that looks like when they're done doing it. I've gone to weddings and college graduations of the people I've served. Our agency goes on big vacations to Disney World and on cruises. Airlines aren't necessarily prepared to accommodate 20 people in wheelchairs, but it's amazing when you give a person an opportunity to meet a Cole, they'll do it. The hardest part about the job is losing people. The death and dying process is not only supporting that person, but supporting the whole team through that process. It's a rough space because we've all become family. At this point in my life, I can't imagine doing anything different. I've got to be helping somebody, or I don't want to do it. A job for me is where I can give back to someone, some way, somehow, and pushing them forward.
Everybody in this world should be self-employed once, so they really know what it's like. You got to pay all your old health insurance, and when you go to the doctor, you got to pay all those bills. You got to have farm insurance, and it's just more expensive. Or if you worked at, a factory, you get your paycheck, but you got health insurance there, and when you come home, you're done working.
I work at a luggage factory. We make suitcases. The tank I work at is 6 foot deep, 8 foot square. In 40 seconds, you have to take the wet felt out of the felter, put the blanket on to draw out the excess moisture, wait 2-3 seconds, take the blanket off. Pick up the wet felt and balance it on your shoulder. Reach over, grab the hose. Spray out the inside of this copper screen. Turn around. Walk to the hot, dry dye behind you. Take the hot piece off and set it on the floor. Put the wet piece on top of the dry dye. Push this button. Inspect the piece you just took off. Stack it, count it. 40 seconds. In the summertime, the temperature at our workstation ranges from 100 to 150 degrees. I've taken thermometers and checked it out. I have arthritis in the joints of my fingers and naturally in my shoulder balancing this wet piece. Sometimes the hose will leak and spray back on you. The hydraulic presses leak, so you're slipping on oil. There's a possibility of being burnt every time the hot dye hits that wet felt. You're just engulfed in a cloud of steam. Every 40 seconds. The tanks run 24 hours a day. I work 8 straight hours with 2 10-minute breaks and 1 20-minute break for lunch. I find it difficult to eat my lunch in that length of time. 40 seconds. Granddad was a sailor, and he blew in off the water. My father was a farmer, and his only daughter. I took up with a no-good mill-working man from Massachusetts who died from too much whiskey and leaves me these three faces to feed. Mill work ain't easy, mill work ain't hard. Mill work most often is a goddamn awful boring job, and I'm waiting for a daydream to take me through the morning and put me at my coffee break so I can have my sandwich and remember it's me and my machine for the rest of the morning, for the rest of the afternoon, and the rest of my life. They can't keep men on the tanks. They say it's too monotonous. I think women adjust to monotony better than men do because their minds are used to doing two things at once, where a man can only think about one thing at a time. A woman can listen to a child while she's doing something else. It's the same thing on the tanks. You get to be automatic in what you're doing while your mind is doing something else. My mind begins to wander to my days back on the farm, and I can hear my father smiling at me, swinging on his arm, and I can hear my granddad's stories of the storms out on Lake Erie, vessels and cargoes, fortunes and sailors' lives were lost. It's my life has been wasted, and I have been a fool to let this manufacturer use my body for a tool. I get to ride home in the evening, staring at my hands, swearing by my sorrow that a young girl ought to stand a better chance. And may I work this mill just as long as I am able, and never meet the man whose name is on the label. It's me and my machine for the rest of the morning, for the rest of the afternoon, gone, and the rest of my life. You wish you didn't work in a factory. We hear they may be shutting our factory down soon. We're all just hoping to hold on to our jobs for as long as we can. Life is short, you know, and you never know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I have a cousin died in a fire a couple weeks ago. Really sad.
You go in there and it's dark. There's smoke pouring out of the goddamn building. It all happens really fast. I feel a tremendous heat to my left, and I turn around and the whole frickin' room is orange yellow. You can see the orange and feel the heat. A lieutenant and another fireman got up the ladder and saved two people. But there was a man downstairs trying to get out of the door. They had bolts on the door. He was burnt dead. You know what the lead man said?
We lost a guy! Shit! We lost a guy!
You saved two people. How'd you know that there would be a guy sleeping on the pool table?
Yeah, but we lost a guy!
I always wanted to be a fireman. A lot of guys want to be firemen. It's like kids. Everyone's still a kid. Guys 40 years old still feel like kids inside, except they're starting to lose their hair and don't have sex as much. I used to be a cop. You know why I switched to fireman? I like people. And sometimes when I was a cop, I could feel the hate come into me. I remember this one time I went to the roof of this project And there was this big guy, about 6'7", standing at the top of the stairs. I said, "Hey, fella, turn around." He said, "Yeah, wait a minute." I could see his elbows moving around his belt. And I said, "Hey, turn around a minute." It dawned on me that he had a gun caught in his belt and he was trying to get it out. I took out my gun and I shouted, "I'm gonna shoot!" He threw his hands up against the wall. He had his dick out and he was trying to zip up his fly. And there was this girl in the corner that I couldn't see. So here he was trying to get a hand job, and maybe a lot of guys would have killed him. I said, "Holy shit, I could have killed you." He started shaking and the gun in my hand was shaking like a bastard, and I said, "Just get the hell out of here." So I took the fire department test in 1996 and got the call in 97. You know, this whole country is so screwed up. This country is screwed up. This world is so damn screwed up. But the firemen, you actually see them produce. You see them put out fires. You see them come out with babies in their hands. You see them give mouth to mouth to a man when he's dying. You can't get around that shit. It's real. I can look back and say, I helped put out a fire. I helped save somebody's life. Someone could be born. Someone can grow old because of me. It shows something I did in this world.
My name is Dean Haupt. I began as an 8-year-old in the Michigan News. It has been here since 1947, and as of this July, that is 76 years in this very spot. I came to Kalamazoo when I was 7 years old. My original home is Baguio, Philippine Islands. My father was a mining engineer. My mother was his loving wife. They had 2 children, my older sister Val and myself. The day after Pearl Harbor, Clark Field in the Philippine Islands was bombed, and the Japanese moved into that area, took over the Philippine Islands. My mother, my sister, and I went to San Altamiece internment camp in Manila, Philippine Islands. We were there 3 years and 2 months. My father went up into the hills, and for 2 years they were involved in guerrilla warfare before they were captured. He was then shipped to Japan. He was on what is now one of the famous ships because it was sunk by the Americans. It was not marked as a prisoner of war ship. And so probably 1,000 Americans went down on that ship.
When MacArthur liberated us, we came to Kalamazoo because my uncle and Auntie Norma thought we should come and live with them. My mother met Vincent Malmstrom, and he became my beloved stepfather. Now, I came to Michigan News, and I got to stuff newspapers and sweep floors. Oh, I loved this place. I worked every day until I went off to college. I went to school on the Junior GI Bill, and that is the gift that my blood father and our American government gave to me. I am a graduate of the University of Michigan. My bachelor's degree from the university is in English, British literature, and American literature, and a master's is from the University of Illinois. After I graduated, I married the man of my life. We've been married 57 years now. I'm a certified high school English teacher and have taught many years. Now, in 1988, my pop and my mom came to us. We were living in Bloomington, Indiana at that point, and they asked me if I'd come back and run the Michigan News. And I was willing to do that, mainly because not only did I love the Michigan News, but I loved Kalamazoo so much. In my years here growing up, it felt like a community that cared about its people, that it was a community that supported each other. And then I became the owner upon the death of my stepfather, Vincent Malmstrom. Now, we tell people we make 6% on newspapers. That's why newsstands are disappearing. That's not even enough to turn on the lights. We make 30% on magazines. We have 6,000 different titles. We make 40% on books. That's why newsstands are disappearing and bookstores are surviving, even though Amazon continues to try to smother us out. I have thrived as it has thrived. I work many hours myself because I don't have to pay myself. I'm going to be able to do this for 10 more years at least. But after that, I'm going to have to figure out what to do with it. But I don't worry about that very much because all of these people believe in me and believe in the Michigan News. So we're going to be here. We're going to survive because all of them are here. This is a marvelous place. People call it the treasure of downtown. This little store up and running every day. You know, we're open every day, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I like to think that each of us finds a home here at the Michigan News.
You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to play the piano. That's what I really wanted. And I'd write songs and things about my life growing up in the South and my mama and my grandmama. Now I got my own beautiful daughter. And I got plans for her. So I leave my house every morning and go scrub rooms at the Hilton Garden Inn. And at night, I come to this office and it's scrubbing again. For generations, that's what we done, scrubbing. My grandmama, my mama, and me. But my daughter, she ain't gonna be doing no domestic work. I aim to be the end of that particular line. Mama worked just like a mama before her. Domestic working was their trade. They was laundress, cook, living help, Thursday girl, babysitter, and a hotel maid. They worked 6 days a week, all day long, never could get out of debt. Those were the days when the minimum wage was anything you could get. They was cleaning women without faces. They was coming and going on a first name basis. You're talking to somebody who knows. Somebody who knows. And after too many years, Lord, I don't wanna be in one more laundry room. I don't wanna pick up near another broom one of these days. Just wanna sleep till noon. All day long I'm thinking my kids in the streets somewhere. But the folks up in their room don't think you're thinking half the time. Always talking around you like you ain't even there. And getting so do something to my mind. Got a daughter with a head on her shoulder, pretty as a picture too. No, she ain't gonna hide that pretty face behind doors, rubbing floors like her mama do. If my legs don't give out and my back hold up, I'm gonna make her a better day. Oh, one of these days. You'll never see her get down on her knees unless she's down there to pray. No more cleaning women without faces. No, she's gonna walk in on a list, last name basis. She'll be the first in this family. She'll be the first in this family to have a face you can't see. No, she ain't gonna be stuck come from 4 generations of cleaning women. But my daughter, she's a whole new generation. That's what we got coming up today. A whole new generation.
My name is Lori McLean, and the name of my company is Presentation Cleaning. So the reason that I named my company Presentation Cleaning is because everything is about presentation. Your home represents everything that you've ever worked for. It represents you. As a little girl, my mother wasn't a good housekeeper. My grandmother, when I would sit in her living room, I remember looking at her walls thinking, what is she doing? Why does her house look so beautiful? When I was about 8 years old, my grandmother started saying to me, hey, Lori, would you like to wash the walls? If you wash the walls, I'll give you $5. I thought that was just wonderful. She just was an amazing woman who had been a nanny and a cleaning lady herself to make a living at one point for the Upjohns. My sweet grandmother, God bless her, she knew that I didn't really have a good chance in my home.
There was a lot of fighting. My dad was an alcoholic, and he was abusive to my mom. Most of my nights were spent in the bar. Now, my school knew that I didn't really get rest like a normal child, so my principal, instead of making me go to class, would let me go into a little room and go to sleep for the day. We didn't have child protective services back in that day. But the problem was, I didn't really get my basics. I finally just decided that I might as well give up on being a really good student because nobody cared. Unfortunately, I married a man who was like my father, and at the age of 21, I became a single mom. Bless my grandmother's heart, she saw something in me that nobody else saw. My grandmother came to me because I was working 56 hours a week in a restaurant, and she said, you need to be home with your son at night. You need to be home with him on the weekends. I want you to start cleaning. And she said, I will be your very first reference. I've been cleaning for 42 years now, and I've had 3 amazing families who have had a huge impact on my life. They showed me what a family looks like. One of the homes especially, I would watch him read to the kids, let his wife come home and go to bed because she was an airline stewardess, and he would be watching cartoons and reading books and giving them breakfast. And I would stand on the 3rd step on the stairway and watch, and I remember thinking, I think this is what a family looks like. And then I remember another lady I worked for and her husband, and she would work very hard and come home late at night. And her husband was a sweet, wonderful human being who always had her back. He was the wind beneath her wings. He cooked. He made sure the kids were okay. He was always there to support her. And because of those 2 gentlemen, I learned what I wanted in a husband in the near future. And then another lady that I worked for was a wonderful mother. Every day when her kids would come home from school, she would talk to them about their day. And from her, I learned how to be a good mother. I am fortunate enough to have married a wonderful man, and we have 2 daughters. One day, my oldest daughter came to me and she said, I want to go to college. And I said, oh no, my husband works in a factory and I'm a cleaning girl. And then I thought, Lori, your girls need to go to college, so what are you gonna do? So I decided to start a cleaning company. So I went to all my clients and I said, I'm gonna start a cleaning company. And I had this one particular woman, I will never forget it for as long as I live. She had such faith in me. She gave me all her address labels, all her neighbors' addresses, and she said, here's a letter of recommendation. My vision for my company has been just an amazing journey. I was able to put my girls through college. I bought myself a dream home. Ashley has a biomedical degree, and Emily has graduated with a major in Arabic, minor in Spanish, and public relations major. And my son Chris has his own cleaning business. And their little cleaning girl mama helped them and worked beside them and showed them how to empower themselves. And I do the same thing for the women I hire. I have a team of 10 working for me. I can step back. I can watch them, I can guide them, I can hone in on them and teach them everything that I've learned through all of my years of cleaning. My grandmother and the people I worked for saved my life.
My name is Mark Schupan. The company that I'm CEO of is Schupan & Sons, Inc. We are 55 years old, and I've been here 50 years. We're in the metals recycling, primarily aluminum. We do work on a national and international basis. We distribute aluminum and manufacture some pretty sophisticated parts, everything from aerospace to automotive to medical. We buy things all over the country and sell all over the world. We have about 700 employees now and numbers of facilities. The key to our success as a company was the ability to attract good people and to be able to let them do their jobs. The thing as far as a CEO is you want people when they get up in the morning to feel like they're going someplace where they want to go to work. And the second thing is that they're appreciated. Mark Twain said, you never go wrong doing the right thing. And those are things that are really important to have a successful company.
My father worked for Allied Steel for 17 years. At age 48, he bought a very small metal recycling company in 1968. I was in college at the time, and after graduation from Michigan State, I taught for 3 years in Carroll, Michigan, and coached football, basketball, baseball. I didn't want to be in the business, but I did work in the plant in the summers, and in 1974, I took a sabbatical and came home to work for a year. Then I was either going to go to law school or I was going to coach college basketball. And I think that was what I would have done. Unfortunately, a few weeks after I began working with my dad, he had a massive stroke and died. He was 53 years old. I remember speaking at the funeral. I said, look to the left, look to the right, and if it's someone you really care about, make sure you always let them know that you never left anything unsaid. I'm pleased to say my father and I never left anything unsaid. The funeral was on Sunday, and I was at work Monday morning. I was 26 at the time, and I stepped into my father's role. You really don't know somebody until you walk in their shoes, and I understood his stress. I became a father to my younger sisters, my younger brother. My mom was 46, so I just became the patriarch of the family. They depended on me financially and for leadership. I wish my dad had been around a lot longer. We both really cared about each other. His affection was almost embarrassing. I lived in a fraternity at Michigan State, and when my parents would come over to visit, he'd give me a big hug in front of all my friends. I learned a lot from him. Everything from his work ethic to caring about his family. I've lived my life doing what I think my father would have wanted me to do. I wish I had more time with him, but I'm appreciative of everything he showed me. My wife, Jeannie, and I have tried to pass on 3 important values to our 4 children. Integrity, to always tell the truth and your word is your bond. Tenacity, when you get knocked down, you get back up and don't give up. And compassion. It's important to care about others and try to make a positive difference. Another motto that hangs in my office says, there is nothing nearly as clever as honesty and sincerity. Honesty and integrity is not a 90 or 95% trait. Either you have it or you don't. 3 of our 4 children hold important positions in the company, and I'm very proud of them. One thing I learned from losing my dad is the fragility of life. And our family was tragically reminded of that in 2002, when our oldest son, Seth, along with Jeannie's parents, were killed in a car crash. It was morning. Seth was driving his grandparents across the state to join the family for Thanksgiving dinner that night. Seth's car was hit by a van at a country crossroad. He was 23. I didn't sleep for 2 years. And then I began writing letters to Seth, kind of a way to communicate. You know, son, here's what's going on. You go through a transition from shock to reality, and then the idea of how you live with him not being in your life. I have all those letters, and I'm going to write a book, hopefully before, you know, whatever, called The Last Letter. I think it would be a good book for people who have lost children. Jeannie has been my strength and support as we've navigated through life. But the hard part is, we never stopped missing him. He was just a great kid. What would life be like today if he was still alive? I saw something on a rock in Africa 10, 12 years ago, and it said, "To live in the hearts of those we leave behind is not to die." I believe that. You do what you can on earth and you're going to be remembered. You live on in the memory of other people.
Heard a lot of songs saying where you going, my son. Now I know they're true. Boy, you never stop to think how fast the years run. Now they've taken you. I remember when you were 3.5, your ma and me, we'd sit there after things got quieter. We'd laugh at some new word you said, how tough you were to get to bed, and we planned the night away, planning for our kid. I was your hero then. I couldn't do no wrong as far as you were concerned. You thought I was the best of men. The tables hadn't turned. You hadn't learned how little time it takes, and daddies make mistakes. Seems to me like I've been thinking a lot, thinking about my dad. A lot of funny things that I thought I forgot, now they make me sad. High school, and it used to be, I didn't want him touching me, and I shuddered if he did. Further back to summer nights, baseball games beneath the lights, and sleeping in the car, my daddy and his kid. He was my hero then. He couldn't do no wrong as far as I was concerned. I thought he was the wisest and the strongest and the best of men. The tables hadn't turned. I hadn't learned how little time it takes, and everybody breaks, and daddies make mistakes. This may sound square, but my kid is my imprint, you know what I mean? This is why I work. Every time I see a nice young guy walking by dressed real sharp, I'm looking at my kid. You know what I want? I want my kid to tell me he's not gonna be like me. I want him to look at me and say, Dad, you're a nice guy, but you're a damn dummy. Hell yeah. If you can't improve yourself, you improve your prosperity. Or else life ain't worth nothing. You might as well go back to the cave and stay there. I'm sure the first caveman who went over the hill to see what was on the other side, I don't think he went there wholly out of curiosity. I think he went there because he wanted to get his son out of the cave. Heard a lot of songs saying where you're going, my son.
Where you going?
Now I know they're real.
Going.
Boy, you never stop to think how fast the years run.
How fast
for the things they steal. Now it seems like I always knew why I do the things I do and the things I never did.
I do the things I do.
Why I work my whole damn life so I can give a better life than the one my dad could give me. I give it to my kid.
I could have been what I could have been. I could have been something. I wanted to be a writer.
A Major League Baseball player.
Owned a little farm.
If what I could be had been left to me, I would have been something.
But then I got married.
Then the kids came along.
Then my dad died.
A tower of strength, a center of power, at $10 an hour.
There's always a stumbling block. I was gonna work for a few years, buy me a car, and head west. Then I met the wife. That changed my plans. You never know what you woulda did.
If I could have done what I could have done, I could have done big things.
Some like to do what I wanted to. I would have done big things.
Swam a few rivers,
Climbed a few hills.
Paid all my bills.
Now it's just dreams that I'm stuck with. And hell, that ain't a lot to show.
Haven't gone far from the starting line, but deep down inside where it counts, I know.
I know that if I
somewhere far
The last hour is the hardest. You have half a mind and one eye on the clock.
All I'm thinking about now is getting home, taking off my uniform.
A cold can of beer?
Putting my feet up in front of the idiot box.
When that whistle blows, you get some guys want to sit around and talk? Me, I just want to get out of here.
I see. It's not just about the work. Somebody built the pyramids.
The pyramids, the Freedom Tower. These things don't just happen.
I don't care how little you did. You drive down a road, you say, I worked on this road.
If there's a bridge, you say, I worked on that bridge.
Picasso can point to a painting.
A writer can point to a book.
What can I point to?
Everyone should have something to point to.
You know what I'd like? I would like to see a building. Say, the Kalamazoo Exchange Building. Or say, the new County Justice Center. I would like to see, on one side of it, a foot-wide strip, from top to bottom, with the names of every person that ever worked in or on that building, all the names. So when a guy walked by, he could take his son, take his daughter, and say,
See that building.
I was the one that did the design.
I was the one who drafted the plan. Every detail in every line.
See that building. I ran the crane that lifted the beams.
I was the guy that worked up above.
Look at those bricks are mine.
Every detail in every line. See that building.
Look how my door hangs in the frame.
See that building.
20 flights up, I scratched my name.
See that building. I'm on the staff, I work as the guard.
I clean the floors and I clean them good.
People don't know my job is hard.
See that building.
5 days a week, I work at a desk.
I do the books.
I handle the mail.
9 on the dot, I punch my card.
See that window.
Up on the ledge.
10 from the top. See that window.
Count from the left.
1, 2, 3, stop.
That's where I work.
Everyone should have something to point to, something to be proud of.
Look what I did.
See what I've done.
I did the job.
I was the one.
Everyone should have something to point to, some way to be tall in the crowd. See that building, day after day after day after day. That's where I put myself on the line. That's where I sweat to earn my pay. See that building.
That's why I put the food on our plates.
That's where I've lived a piece of my life.
Where I can bring my kids and say, see that building. The logo was cut, the scissors are made. See that building. The windows are washed, the cycles are laid. The railroads are tight, the fabric was laid. The records are kept, the office is run. The coffee is sold, the digging is done. The building was built for all eyes to see.